All right, let's talk Las Vegas Raiders. Obviously made big headlines a few short days ago. They have hired Pete Carroll to be their next general manager. They're filling out the coaching staff. Tom Brady playing an active role. It looks like the Raiders are part of a clear strategy here. They're using one to get this team back into contention. And they've recently made a sneaky good hire to help them with just that. It's moves like this that can make all the difference. Exciting news out of Las Vegas. But first, I'm Nick, and this is Saturday Morning Inspection. All right, this time of year when you have coaches coming into new teams and assistants are coming into new teams, staffs are getting filled out, everyone looks at the big name hires, like who's the head coach, general manager, things like that, the guys that grab the headlines, and those obviously matter. But a big role can be found in these sort of second and third tier hirings, and that's what the Raiders have recently made a phenomenal hire to help out this organization and return it to prominence. Let's pull up this report courtesy of PFN. To give himself an opportunity at turning the Raiders around, Pete Carroll brought in a former colleague who has worked with him at various times in his career. Matt Capurro, that's a name most people aren't familiar with but should, has been a Seahawks coach for 15 years and was in his third year as the vice president of coaching operations, a title you don't hear a lot about. According to the Seahawks website, Capurro worked closely with 2024 head coach Mike McDonald and was responsible for coordinating the team's day-to-day operations. In 2009, Capurro also worked with Carroll at USC, where he was the director of football operations. So Capurro is just an operational guy. He's not an X's and O's guy. He's an operational guy that gets the team in situations as they prepare for games, as they get ready to work through the season, puts them in positions to be successful. Coach's best friend here. Love this hire by Pete Carroll. Miles, I'm curious what your thoughts are on all of this, but Raider Nation, you guys first in the comment section below. It's been a whirlwind activity of hires left and right here for the Raiders. How would you grade how everything is going on so far? Do you think it's great, A+? Do you think it's been terrible, F? Is it kind of a wait and see approach? It's a C grade. Grade how the Raiders have been just handling this massive run of hirings right here and put it in the comment section below. But Miles, what are your thoughts on the hiring of Capurro by the Raiders and just everything with Vegas in general?
Yeah, Nick, I think first off, let's talk about Capurro, what he brings to the team. I think this guy is going to be crucial for Pete Carroll, a guy that really needs to bite in and focus on coaching. He needs to focus on the X's and O's of this team. He doesn't need to focus on any of the other stuff. And that's exactly what Capurro brings to the table. This is a guy who, like they said, day-to-day operations guy, managed a year-round football calendar, planned the travel logistics for home away games, directed, any kind of clinics, any kind of things that went on with the athletic department at USC when they were there. Then on the NFL side, he went in, took care of the off-season programs, took care of what they did during OTAs, mini camps, training camp. He took care of all of the nitty-gritty, the things that you probably don't want to take care of as a coach. And that's probably why he was at the Seahawks for 15 years. He's a very integral piece here. He's a guy that just comes in and takes care of the stuff that nobody else wanted to do, and he does it very, very well. I think Capurro was a solid hire because what this allows Pete Carroll to do is come in, not have to focus on the nitty-gritty, a lot of the coaching details that some of these coaches come in and get bogged down with. He can go out there, coach the guys, be an X's and O guy, and have his trusted confidant, Capurro, who's been with him at multiple stops for multiple years, come in and take care of the rest. And I think, honestly, Pete Carroll is the only guy that could have hired this guy away from Seattle. Seeing as he's been there for 15 years, he really seemed to have liked it there. But Pete Carroll comes out of the woodwork, says, hey, come work with me in Las Vegas. Who can say no to Pete Carroll if you've been with the guy that many times? But I think this was a big hire for the Raiders. I think this is going to be a bigger impact than people give it credit for, because you're going to see Carroll come out and do a lot of great things early on, but you don't see the behind the scenes things. You don't see the things that he didn't have to do to get him to that spot. So I think this is a great move by Pete Carroll to be able to get Capurro and bring him over to Las Vegas.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, anyone who knows in any situation, whether it's sports or business, when you're hiring a guy to come in to right the ship, to turn things around, he's got a lot on his plate, obviously. And Pete Carroll, like every other head coach, has a lot of X's and O's, player development, player evaluations, roster decisions to make as they try and just turn this Raiders ship around. You want to make sure you have a number two guy that can handle the operational day-to-day so you can focus on what really matters. Because anytime you're trying to turn around a program, one of the things that can slow you down is you just get bogged down in minutia. You don't want your head coach or your coaching staff worrying about, hey, what's the schedule for OTAs again? Okay, how are we handling the offseason program? What's our strength and conditioning coach complaining about? Forget about all that. Have a good number two that you can delegate all that to. There is a reason that Capurro was so admired with the Seattle Seahawks. And if you look at the Seahawks organization, they don't get the credit they deserve. Obviously, there may be a little West Coast bias here. But the Seattle Seahawks, whether they change coach Carroll to McDonald, change quarterbacks Russell Wilson to Geno Smith, go completely overhauled defensively, Legion of Boom to kind of a mid-tier defense to back to a younger, better defense, they win games. They've had 3 straight winning seasons. They're not winning Super Bowls or anything like that. But Raider Nation, I'm sure you guys would appreciate multiple winning seasons stacked together. The Raiders certainly have a lot of the talent to do just that. And one of the reasons for that is I think you have an organizational guy, an operational guy like Capurro stepping in and making the coach's life and the coach's lives easier, taking care of silly little things. I shouldn't say silly because it does matter, but it's not nearly as important as the football operations activities that the coaches are doing. Having a guy like Capurro is absolutely critical. You need to have people you trust in the organization that are good culture guys as well, that believe in you and won't undermine you. For all those reasons, this is just a phenomenal hire. One of the things that can really trip up quality coaches when they go to new organizations is they lose out on some of those mid-tier staff guys that are really critical to them. This happens a lot where you see a coach and they go somewhere and they're a great winner in the first place, they go to another place and they're not nearly as good. And you're like, what the heck happened? A lot of times, those second and third tier staffers that were big culture guys that helped the coach out, they didn't go with them and things go south. That's not going to happen with Pete Carroll and the Raiders. I think so far we're seeing this turnaround process going in the right direction. Capurro's a great hire. There's been a lot of really solid moves. There's still a lot of work left to be done, not denying that. But so far in the short term, great job by the Raiders organization doing everything they can to right this ship.